A life rooted in the fear of God is not a life of anxiety or restriction. It is a life of balance, peace, and purpose. The fear of God does not mean terror. It means reverence, awareness, and respect for the one who created us, sustains us, and watches over all our actions. When a person lives with this awareness, their choices, words, and desires become disciplined, noble, and meaningful. The fear of God is like a compass. It keeps the heart from drifting too far from righteousness and reminds the soul that true freedom comes only through obedience to divine truth. Building such a lifestyle begins with self-awareness. A believer constantly asks himself, is God pleased with what I am doing? Would I act the same way if I remembered that He is watching me now? These questions awaken the conscience and protect the heart from sin. When a person lives with this inner awareness, temptations lose their power, arrogance fades, and humility begins to shine. The fear of God nurtures honesty in trade, loyalty in friendship, and purity in love. It prevents deceit in business, betrayal in relationships, and corruption in power. It reminds parents to be kind to their children, children to respect their elders, and leaders to serve with justice. A society built on the fear of God becomes a society of trust, compassion, and unity, where no one cheats, oppresses, or deceives because everyone knows that God sees what others cannot. Faith rooted in fear of God also shapes personal discipline. A person who fears God controls his tongue, for he knows that every word will be accounted for. He avoids gossip, lies, and backbiting because he fears displeasing the Almighty. He manages his time wisely, avoids arrogance, and keeps his desires in check, knowing that worldly indulgence is temporary, but accountability before God is eternal. A woman who lives with the fear of God carries herself with grace and modesty, for she knows her worth is not in display but in dignity. Her heart is guided not by worldly fashion but by spiritual beauty. A man who lives with the fear of God protects the weak, earns his bread honestly, and treats his family with kindness. Together they form a household where love, discipline, and respect coexist, where prayers echo and peace resides. The fear of God also brings inner peace. When one fears God, he no longer fears people, loss, or failure. He understands that nothing happens except by His will. Such a person finds calm even in storms, hope even in trials, and strength even in loneliness. His life becomes steady like a deep-rooted tree that bends with the wind but never breaks. To build a lifestyle rooted in the fear of God, one must surround oneself with good influences, companions who remind us of Allah, books that strengthen faith, and environments that inspire righteousness. It is important to seek knowledge, reflect upon the Holy Quran, and follow the examples of prophets who lived with unwavering faith. The Prophet Muhammad said, "The most intelligent person is the one who remembers death often and prepares for what comes after." This remembrance is not meant to create fear, but to bring clarity, to help us live meaningfully, not wastefully. When a person cultivates this mindset, the fear of God becomes not a burden but a blessing, a silent guardian that directs the soul towards light. It shapes our thoughts, actions, and dreams. It keeps us humble in success, patient in hardship, and grateful in every circumstance. A lifestyle rooted in the fear of God is a lifestyle of true empowerment. It frees us from the slavery of ego and desire. It connects us with the ultimate purpose of existence, to worship, to serve, and to spread goodness on earth. The one who fears God lives not in darkness, but in the purest form of enlightenment, guided by faith, strengthened by discipline, and rewarded by peace that no wealth can buy. So let us build our lives upon this foundation, where every heartbeat remembers Him, every action seeks His pleasure, and every success is measured not by worldly applause, but by divine acceptance. For indeed, the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, and wisdom is the light that never fades. Please subscribe and press the bell icon to receive notifications of future videos when uploaded.